So this is our tandem. This one is a Hokitika. It has the lateral tube, but what I'm going to show you is the best way to pack your tandem, whether it has a lateral tube, whether it's carbon steel, aluminum, as long as it has the S&S couplers and it's designed to fit into the standard S&S 26 by 26 by 10 airline legal suitcases. We're gonna pack it down. The first thing we need to do is take all unnecessary parts off the bike, leaving just the frame. So one of the first things that we want to do is take care of all the couplers, including the cable couplers. These should always only ever be hand tight. Okay? What you want to do to make it easier on yourself is make it all the way to the granny gear, the easiest gear inside. If it's a double, it would still be the furthest inside ring. And you want to go to the smallest ring on this side. So what we want to do is we want to make sure our shifters are all the way down. So we're going to go ahead, shift these all the way down. I'm putting a little bit of tension right down here on the cable. Same thing on this side. And then we're free to take these out. Next thing before we completely disassemble anything is we want to go ahead and loosen these couplers. We're not going to take them all the way off, but we do just want to get them loosened. I like to put it on, put my hand over it so it doesn't slip off. Give it one crank and then a crank with my hands. Same thing all the way around. Okay, so now the moment you've all been waiting for, the actual packing of the bike. We're going to do the first case. We'll call it case one, and in case one, we're going to have almost every single one of your parts, except for your discs. You're going to keep those in the other case. And your handlebars, they're not going to go in there. But all your other small parts are going to go in, and we'll show you how to do that now. I'm going to take all the small parts and actually put them over to one side. We're going to keep them all on one side over here. Now this is one of your cranks here, and I'm going to put that in so that the spindle is pointing up, because eventually that's going to go through one of your spokes. There's your other crank. We're going to put that right there. All the other pieces we're going to put all over to one side. See, I have the two other seats left. We'll hold off on those. And I'm going to take your front wheel. Front wheel, we're going to put it all the way down to the bottom on this side. Okay. And then we're going to squeeze it in. We're going to make sure that those spindles are coming up through the spokes. We're going to set that in just like that. So you have basically one side all the way down to the bottom and one side almost flush with the top of the case here, but it's on an angle this way. And the reason for that is we're going to put your triangle, your rear triangle, which is basically triangle shaped. We're going to lay that down right here with, very importantly, the derailleur hanger. Show that to you right here. Okay. First of all, as you can see, it's pretty well protected by the padding. But your derailleur hanger is going to be up at the corner, the same corner as your handle, because I don't want that being dropped down by gravity and continually hitting on the bottom of your case. So I'm going to make sure that that's really well padded, but I'm not going to rely completely on that. I'm going to take my fork, okay, and I'm going to go underneath here, and I'm going to make sure that the end of the fork sticks out just a little bit further than that derailleur hanger. That way I'll have some extra protection. And when I put that all together, and I'm going to tie this really, really tightly together. You can use a piece of ripstop nylon like this, wire ties, cable ties, whatever, to work for you. Let's have a padded envelope here, and then I'll put the derailleur, the actual rear derailleur in. Oops. Get another one a little bit bigger. Put that padded, that padded thread right there. Tuck that down. So I'm also going to tie the triangle to the wheel, and I'm going to do that by actually going around the rim and not the spokes. The more places you can tie it, I like to do at least 3, but the more secure it is, the better it is. I'm going to tie the fork to the rear triangle. Again, trying to keep everything as secure as I possibly can. We're going to go really, really tight here. Now we have some extra room here, and we're going to start to fit in some of our bigger parts, like the stoker handlebars. And it's very important that these 3 pieces go in just like that. Everything else can kind of wherever you feel the best. And it's going to be different depending on what type of bike you have, what size bike you have. Like I said, this one has a lateral tube. Yours may not. That's going to make a difference. Just take the seat, tuck it right down in there. See if I stoker seat. Let's see if we can put that right there. That should be just about right. Don't like how that sits, so I'm going to move it over. Okay. I'm going to put these stanchions in to protect. I like to put them closer to the middle because you're already supported with the edges of your suitcase. So we're going to try to go where it's the weakest. And we're going to put those right, I like them right in the middle there. And then we are ready to shut the case. Okay, now we'll move on to the second case. Now remember I told you that I like to keep this separate. It's because some of those other parts are loose and they might bang around, and I like to try to keep these as protected as I possibly can. So I'll put them in cardboard, and I also like to take and stick it right to the side. Okay, now there's a few different types of tandems out there. A lot more tandems are coming without a lateral tube. This, of course, does have a lateral tube, and it has 3 separate tubes. But if yours is, let's say, a co-motion with just the center section as one, it's going to be basically the same. But instead of the loose ones, you're just going to have it. You're going to put yours right like that. But in this case, since they're so easy to place, I'm not going to put them in yet. I'm going to put my front triangle in. Now, what's important about having your front triangle in is where your rear wheel is going to sit. So I have Vittoria Randonneur 37s on here, so they're pretty big tires. But what I want to make sure is that this center piece is not resting on one of the tubes, because that's where damage is going to happen. But as you can see, that's going to fit just fine. So it's a little test fitting that I want to do, and then I can go ahead and pull this out. This is also a fine time. Go ahead and put your cycling shoes in there, put your clothes in there. But I'm going to put that down there, put that right down there, and I'll put my other tube right there. And again, we're going to tie to the rim. Try to keep things from moving the best we can. And I'm going to tie this in 3 different spots. If you are using zip ties, just remember to pack along extra for some on the ride home, because there's nothing like being in your hotel room, packing your bike, and not having enough zip ties. I like to take a rag and throw it right over the cassette. If you had a rubber band, you could pop that right around there. In this case, I'm just using a shoelace. Keeps a little bit more protection, and it keeps things from getting greasy. Now, if you have, this is a 48-hole spoke wheel, so this is probably the toughest part of the whole thing, is finding where this is going to fit through nicely. So, with 48 holes, 48 spokes, you don't have as many places as you would if you had like a Spinergy or a Rolf or something like that. But I want it in a place where it's going to be safe, but I don't want it to be touching the teeth of the cassette here. So that is not a good place for me, even though it fit down in there. So we're going to keep trying. And every single time you do it, your wheel is in a different place, so it takes a little effort. So that's clear there. That's not bad. Probably do a little bit better. Let's try over here. And that looks really clear. So I'm going to keep that just like that. Make sure all my cables are inside. Now I am going to tie this again to the outside rim. I don't need any more stress on those spokes than absolutely necessary. And as you can see with this one, you have a lot of space. So there's a lot of space for clothing, cycling gear, what have you. And the last things we need are the stanchions. Again, closer to the center, a little bit stronger. This one over just a little bit more. And voila, you are ready to go. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps.